Hey, What the Suck family. As you may have noticed, we recently switched to Anchor for our podcast hosting needs.
That's right, we were using another site that had us paying $20 a month for services such as unlimited uploading, unlimited hosting, and distribution. Anchor will distribute your podcast to Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and many more, and they do it all for free.
They make it super easy to create and start your podcast directly from their site. You can record and edit directly on the Anchor website or app directly from your phone.
It's your one-stop shop for everything you need to create your own show. They will even help you find sponsors to fund your project.
Just go to anchor.fm and get started today. There really is no easier way to do it. Yep. What? Yep.
We rolling?
We rolling.
What? No! You suck! Oh my
Hey everyone, welcome back to What the Suck. I'm Chris.
And I'm James.
And today's lucky number 16 episode 16, right?
Episode 16,
All
brother.
right, we have a classic for you, 1979's Tourist Trap.
Yikes.
It's a supernatural slasher film directed by David Schmucker, he's a Schmuck, starring Chuck Connors, Jocelyn Jones, John Van Ness, Robin Sherwood, Tony Roberts, and a bunch of other fuckers. It's rated PG-13, or PG, actually, it's taken back, PG. It's one of the lowest rated, or the youngest rated movies we've watched so far, PG.
Yep.
I think everything else has been R at the most part.
Yeah, PG, I think, but we had, I think Avalanche Sharks was TVMA.
That's right, because it was Canada. Okay, so maybe...
And it was made for TV, so...
It's slightly above Avalanche Sharks then.
God, I said it again.
It's all right. It's so...
Avalanche Sharks.
The film follows a group of young people who stumble upon a roadside museum housing mannequins that wield supernatural powers. Produced by Charles Band and J. Larry Carroll. Written by David Schmucker, John Larry Carroll. The cinematography doesn't matter. It was pretty terrible. It definitely has a 70s look to it, so cinematography is null and void.
Yeah.
The production company is Charles Band Productions, distributed by Compass International Pictures, Manson International Pictures. That's not a good sign.
No.
Mid-American releasing. It was released March 14th, 1979, with a running time of 90 minutes and a budget of about $800,000.
Now, 79 was your birth year, is
My
that
birth
correct?
year.
Okay.
I was about what was that? March, the third month. I was
Yeah.
December, so it's like 9 months before I was born.
I was 11, almost 12. I would have turned 12 in 79.
12.
So I was 11 years old when this came out.
Oh wow.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And as the cast is revealed, have we gone through the cast yet?
Yeah, I just went through them already.
Oh, crap. Okay. Well, Chuck Connors, many folks will know, used to be a very well-respected Western actor, so not exactly sure what happened to the brother, but I guess you need a paycheck. I mean, you got to do anything, you know.
You know, I think maybe like a fourth of our audience would know. I think the other 3/4 are people under my age, so they
Guys
won't
my age.
know
Okay,
who.
well, he was in a show called The Rifleman.
Okay, all right.
That was one, and then there was another one where he was a coward, and I'm trying to remember what that was called, but you know what? At this point, I don't give a shit.
I don't think he does either.
Poor Chuck.
Yeah, poor Chuck. So, before we get into anything, let's go over the rating system. So, I'm sure if those of you who have listened before know, but those who are new, we rate our movies on a shit emoji scale, 1 to 5. And unlike other review and rating systems, the less stars you get, the better the quality of the movie is. So instead of
Yes.
5 stars being the best, we go reverse.
The scale is inverted, folks.
It is. So if it's 1 out of 5 shits, now these are the ones you're gonna want to keep in your queue. They're your new classics and the ones you'll watch over and over. They belong to the so bad they're good category. You and your friends will get endless entertainment and enjoyment from these. 2 out of 5 shits. These are ones you're gonna watch only with friends who enjoy shitty movies. Not for everyone. They're not all of your friends are gonna get this. Only the really really down for anything ones are going to get this. They're best viewed with a group who love to riff on movies, and you have to play a drinking game with them because there's a lot of stuff in there that you will want to maybe forget by end of the movie.
Yes, and I will allude real quick before he goes to number 3. If you guys go back and listen to the episode Chopping Mall, which I believe is episode number 12.
Yeah.
We did play a drinking game during that, and you can see,
Or you can hear.
you can hear the fun happening.
Yeah.
You can hear the effects of the alcohol toward the end. So it's
toward the end,
and made it a lot of fun. So
we're a laughing mess toward the end.
So drinking games with these movies is a lot of fun. Please proceed.
All right, thank you. So 3 out of 5 shits. These are, you'll at least share these with friends. You'll watch it with them only if they have nothing better to do. Only if you have nothing better to do. But prepare to drink heavily while watching them. 4 out of 5 shits. Watch it once with your friends, because trust me, that will be enough. These are the ones that are so weird, so strange, that you may not want to see them more than once, but you at least want to share your misery with your friends.
Indeed. You got to spread the love.
And now, the 5 out of 5 are the worst of the worst, the fecal de la matter. You only bring these out on special occasions, like a forced double date or dinner with the in-laws. I mean, do you have someone you want gone from your life? Then make them watch this movie.
That's right.
Once done, you want to remove it from your memory with some sort of mind-altering substance or some sort of blunt force trauma.
Blunt force. I love it. I guess that alludes back to my diving off the balcony.
Yes, it does.
Reference.
Yes, it does.
I love it.
All right, so now we got the rating system out the way. Talked about the movie. I guess we can go ahead and start the review.
Amen.
All right, let's do this.
Every year, hundreds of young people travel the country and disappear. God help those who get caught in the tourist trap. Tourist trap, where beautiful young people looking for excitement are tricked, terrorized, trapped. Tourist trap. Shock you can see. Terror you can feel. Heart-stopping suspense that makes this the nightmare that never ends. Something crazy's going on at the tourist trap.
What?
Wake up.
Oh, sorry.
Wake up.
I was falling asleep there. I was falling asleep. Ooh, boy. Let me tell you.
Real.
Oh, man. Let me just. I'm not going to give a rating right now, but let me just start off by saying that I do like this movie. I'm not going to give a rating yet, but saying that, God bless, this is a good movie to watch when you want to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Because
It's a little
slow to start.
between the shrieks and the over booming soundtrack that
Yeah.
it tends to snap you out of it every once in a while.
Oh, but man, it is. All right. Anyway, so
Quick factual note here.
go ahead.
Did a little research because I had a premonition, and I was correct. 1979. This movie was released right around the same time the Bee Gees hit "Tragedy" was released, and I think is it a coincidence?
I don't think so.
know.
No.
I don't know, but we'll see.
They must have had an early screening of the movie and decided to write that song for this movie.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. So, tourist trap. All right. So it starts off with some dude in a Gilligan hat walking a tire. Yeah. Oh, buddy. Walking a tire down the road. He stops to get some. He drinks some water, and he's looking for a gas station to get his tire repaired.
And by the way, the tire is not flat.
No, it's not flat. I don't know.
It is not flat.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they think they were doing, or who they thought they were going to fool.
But I'm pretty sure they didn't flatten it or take the air out because then it would have been too hard for him to roll down, and the actor probably didn't want to actually work. So he's like, just leave it inflated.
He looked a little soft.
Yeah. So he comes upon this gas station where he walks in to try to find somebody, and while he's in there, he hears some creepy voice coming from the back. So he walks back there to see what looks like a woman laying on a bed in a cover, and when he goes to shake her shoulder, it pops up on like those little like springs or whatever. And
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
yeah, and it's a mannequin, and the mannequin's jaw drops and starts screaming. And he freaks out, and then when he does that, he jumps up, and then the door closes, and then the window opens, and he goes to try to get at either one. He can't, and then the mannequin crashes through the window for some reason when the head pops off.
Yeah.
And then he goes.
Then he goes to the closet.
Goes to the closet, and then that's when it pops up. Another jump scare.
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
Yeah.
Now, I will admit, I admitted this one to Chris, and I can tell y'all as well. I don't know why, but this one particular mannequin coming out of the closet, I wasn't expecting it, and the surround sound on my TV, the speakers are behind my head, and it made a creaking ass noise in my neck. I spun around. I actually jumped a little bit on that one.
It got you.
I was like, damn it.
It got you.
I was like fading out at that point. I'm like, oh, come on, what are we doing here?
But that woke your ass up, didn't it?
It woke my ass up
Sure
just
did.
a tad.
Sure did.
But anyway, that stupid mannequin pops out of the damn closet, and it was annoying.
Yeah. So then he freaks the fuck out, of course, and also the mannequin's head that fell off, like turned towards him, and the mouth drops open, and like this deep laugh comes out, like ho 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 ho. So you're getting a whole bunch of like what looks like freaky shit. It could be ghosts.
Yeah.
Because you have all these weird objects that are moving on their own.
Yep.
Looks like maybe it's like a possession or something, and he freaks out, tries to get out through the door, pops a hole in it with a pipe, and puts his hand through to unlock the door, and something grabs his hand, and he's freaking out, and he's attached to the door for a good 45 seconds to a minute.
Yes.
While that happens, there's a cabinet directly across from him, and it opens up, and all this shit that's in here gets thrown at him by some mysterious force.
That's right.
Doesn't hit him once. You've got like bottles of green shit, you got bottles of red shit, you got like batteries and all kinds of shit, and it all gets thrown at him directly across from where he's at. Doesn't hit him once. There's a knife, like a K-bar, in the damn cabinet.
Yep.
It shoots out, misses him altogether.
Sticks in the wall.
And then finally, he's sitting
Like,
there
what a
freaking out.
waste.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's freaking out, and he sees the pipe that's on the ground start moving, like it's trying to get picked up, and he's just sitting there, not really struggling much, and he's just waiting. Inevitably, the pipe gets him right in the side,
Here it goes. Gets him right through what looks like the kidneys.
right to the kidney.
And he does not utter a single
Doesn't
sound.
scream. He acts like
everything goes dead silent.
Yeah.
And there's no sound whatsoever. And he's just like, with his mouth hanging open. And it's like slow-mo, but silent.
It's acting like he's dead already, which that wouldn't have killed him instantly.
No, but you do hear a very cool sound.
Yeah, you
effect.
do. Which you start hearing like drops, and then you hear like a trickle, and you realize it's his blood coming out of
You
the
look
pipe.
down the pipe,
It's
and
it's
as I
hitting
put it, you put a spigot in him, he's done.
Yeah, he put a spigot, and he's draining off into some can. So it sounds really cool. But
So Gilligan is gone.
yeah, Gilligan is gone. So then it cuts to this girl waiting by the car that the guy whose name is Woody left.
Woody.
She's sitting there trying to get some radio station, waiting for Woody to come back. And another Jeep pulls up with our other three people. You got Jerry, you got Eileen, And no, wait, or is Eileen the one? I think Eileen's the one that's waiting. You got Jerry, Molly is the blonde, and then you've got Tanya Roberts, what's her name again? Becky.
I don't even care what her name is.
Tanya Roberts.
Looking pretty damn good.
And
looking
Becky.
Pretty good.
So Eileen is the girl waiting. They pick her up and they go try to find Woody. And they end up at Slosson's Museum, which is closed down.
Yes, but we can't leave out my favorite character in the entire movie.
Favorite character.
The fake-ass buzzard on the sign that says closed.
Yeah.
You know, they completely ignore everything and
Yeah,
drive
of course.
on past it.
That's what kids do. They
That's
ignore
what they do.
signs. They just go up to whatever's there.
Yep.
Yeah. So the buzzard's there. He's got his wings outstretched like he's trying to be scary, but he just looks like he's taunting him with "Come at me, bro."
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, up to this point, my biggest problem is the wardrobe. I mean, I kind of like the halter tops and the hot pants on the gals, but the dude's wardrobe, the Adrian Zmed guy.
Yeah, he's wearing like a jean button-up shirt, but like it's unbuttoned and the
From the
sleeves are cut.
Johnny Nagarelli line,
The sleeves are cut off, and then he's wearing like he's wearing a suit vest over the jean jacket. He's like, I think that's like, isn't that how they go to fancy parties in Canada?
I believe so.
The Canadian tuxedo?
I believe so. Well, anyway, he looks like an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
He's a dumb shit.
So they walk into, so they're on the way. So do they get to the museum first? Let me see. Hold on. No, they get to the museum.
See, folks, this is the part where, you know, sometimes we watch movies and we have to actually wake our brains up a little bit because it's pretty slow at first. A lot of very kind of slow, creepy music lulls you to sleep.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot going on.
So what happens is they're heading towards the museum and his car breaks down. So while he's looking at the three girls walk away, one of them finds a swimming hole.
Yes.
And they all decide to go skinny dipping, and they cut that whole part out where they get undressed because it's PG. It's a PG movie.
PG.
Not 13, PG. And so the next scene you see is Jerry working on the car. Then it automatically cuts back to the girls already in the water. And that's when Mr. Slauson shows up.
A.K.A. Chuck Connors, A.K.A. the Rifleman.
Yes, enter the Rifleman. And he starts talking to him and telling him about how he used to charge the swimming hole and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. And basically, now I'm saying it. Great. Basically, I'm saying it now.
I haven't said it yet.
Nope. I guess I'll say it. This whole basic.
Okay.
So he tells them to get out before dark because the moccasins come in.
The water Mexicans.
The water Mexicans. And so they leave and tell Jerry they found this weird old man who, so then he tells them about the guy, and then the guy just shows up right there. And he says, well, you know, I can help you fix your car. Let's get in my truck. We'll head back to my shop. I got some tools. So they all pile in Slauson's truck and head to his museum where he introduces
At quite
them
a rapid pace, I would recommend. He flies up in that parking lot
he's
doing
hauling
about
ass.
60.
Yeah.
Slamming on the brakes and people go flying.
Yeah, so then they get there and he introduces them to his wax museum with wax dummies, some that
His little
move,
house of oddities.
some that don't. Yeah. And he introduced them to his Davy Crockett and his General Custer. And no, those are not euphemisms for his penis. They're actual dummies, mannequins. And one of Eileen notices a house in the back and asks him who lives there. He says nobody. But he starts talking about his wife and about his brother, how his brother built all this stuff, and now he's up in New York building for a wax museum up there.
Yep.
And his wife passed away. But then he decides, he tells him not to go to the house because no one lives there. He lives in a museum, and that he's going to take Jerry to the car to get it fixed. So the girls need to stay there and guard the house or guard the museum.
And do they stay?
Eileen does not. Eileen takes off into the house because she wants to go look for her phone.
She's ignorant.
Yeah, so she gets in there and she starts hearing like voices and she starts walking around. Yeah, it sounds just like that. Now let's break this down for a second. So the mannequins are actually pretty creepy.
Yes.
Some of them have like teeth and like eyes and they smile and they have like a creepy look to them.
Yes, and I did make note that to me, in an offbeat way, it kind of has a Hitchcock kind of feel to it because it has a lot of that suspenseful.
It's got that slow build to it.
That slow suspenseful build.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit you in the face all at once. It just kind of builds up slowly.
Right.
But the creepy ass music in the background, although overbearing at some points, does kind of remind me of some Hitchcock-esque kind of movies.
Right.
Not as good, of course.
No.
Hitchcock was brilliant, but
I think the difference between this and Hitchcock is that, I mean, there's a ton of differences, but like with Hitchcock, he has the slow build up, but eventually pays off to something.
Yes.
something shocking, something unexpected, or something just downright disturbing.
Yeah.
All of this slow buildup goes to absolutely nothing at all.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't have any of those qualities.
Was that your Hitchcock? Your Hitchcock?
It's about as close as I can get.
That was
without practice.
well, at least we're not going to worry about infringing on his copyright. And so she
Is
gets.
this the man who wrecked a buffet at the Herald Club this morning?
Sounds like a drunk Orson Welles, but. So she's walking around and she walks in this one room with all these mannequins that are creepy as hell, and they're all female and they're all in different positions, standing or sitting. Some are smiling, some are wincing, some are just there. And as she's walking around, a few of their eyes start to move and follow her as she's moving around the room.
That's a hint and a half for your ass.
Yeah. And so she walks up to this. She finds a phone and she walks up to grab it, but then she notices a scarf on a mannequin right next to her, next to the phone. And she takes it off because that's a smart thing to do. She puts it on her. She fixes it in the mirror, and then in the mirror from behind her, this tall, weird dude shows up wearing the Gilligan hat. And
That's right. He was.
Even as an audience member looking at the mirror in a 480p movie, you could tell that wasn't Woody because, first of all, Woody was about 5'0" nothing.
Yes,
this dude's like 6'0" nothing.
He's like 6'4", 6'3".
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
And his head is about the size of a painter's bucket. It is gigantic. like
He has
Woody's
a huge melon on top of his neck. That's for damn sure.
Woody's Gilligan hat looks like a yarmulke on this dude. That's how big
right.
his head is.
Yep.
But she's like, Woody, and she turns, and then when he says that, he uses his telekinesis powers, which we find out in this scene.
AKA for you young people, it's the Force.
Yes.
He's using the Force.
We find out in this scene that the movement of the mannequins from earlier were not in fact ghosts or possession. It was this person who has telekinesis powers and makes everything move. And he's sort of a ventriloquist because he makes his voice like go to different things and can use to make different octaves and sound like a woman, sound like a man. And so he breaks the mirror. And then starts to make things move in the room. And instead of her actually running around or running away, she just like stands there. She doesn't look really scared. She looks more confused.
Yeah.
And so then he ends up killing her using the scarf that she's wearing by very slowly having it choke her out.
After, of course, using the Force to slide the chair across the table and force her to sit down, then turns her around.
Take a seat.
And then chokes her ass.
Yeah, very slowly. So it's a very slow. See, this is what we're talking about. This build up with the creepy mannequins and the creepy voice and the creepy music all leads to this very boring, very slow death scene.
If anybody remembers the lady in Jaws, this is one of the references I like to make. When somebody's getting ready to kill your ass, they pause. Instead of running, if they've got a way to get out or escape, instead of acting, they freeze. Like the lady in Jaws with the kid when they yell shark and she's just standing there in chest deep water, screaming with her kid. Well, that's basically what this chick did. She just stood there. The guy wasn't charging her or anything.
No.
She could have got the hell out or at least tried to move. But no, he just plops her down.
Picked up something and flung it at him or anything.
And like you said, I don't think the scarf choking could have gone any slower.
Oh my God! Like she actually had time to pick her hand up very slowly to feel the scarf tightening. So, but she could use both hands to pull at it, but she didn't. She just
it's like those slow.
Yeah.
No.
And then they don't even show her actually being choked.
Nope.
So they start going to random parts of the room where he's for some reason breaking bottles in the room, which I don't understand why he's doing that.
He's trashing his own house.
Yeah.
Damn
and then the way they represent her dying is there's a pot that falls on the ground, and that's the end of the scene. That's indicating that she is dying.
So we end up back in the house after the inevitable slow motion and slowly painful scarf death.
Yes, the slow, not so much painful, but painful for us to watch scarf death.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we back over the house, and the two girls are farting around with all the stuff and playing with the controls, and they discover, I think they flipped a button, this little music box stuff comes on.
Yeah.
They discover his...
A mannequin that looks like his wife. Well, they don't know it's his wife, but there's a mannequin that's very, very pretty that's off to the side, hidden in a little cubby.
Yeah.
And they walk up to it, and they say it's got great features, and then they touch it, and they say it feels like flesh.
Yeah. So Slauson does return, but he comes back without no sleeves, boy. He left Johnny Nagarelli out there somewhere.
Johnny Nagarelli. And so he leaves him there. He comes back and that's when he starts talking to them about his wife and how she died and died in his arms. And he asks where the other girl is at because Eileen's not there. And they tell him that she went to the house. So he goes looking for her. He finds her in the room.
Looking like
a mannequin. Yep, wearing the same clothes, scarf. But now she's been turned into a mannequin.
So, yeah.
So so here's the thing, like we noticed this, like he has like a split personality disorder or something because he pretends he's actually looking like he's looking for Eileen.
Yes.
And when he finds her, at least to the viewing audience, because there's no one else around him, he is surprised to see her turn that way.
Yes. So, but anybody who knows horror movies could see this coming a mile away.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, you'll notice the height similarities. You know it's his voice.
Right.
So, I'm sorry, but it's halfway through the movie and you've already picked it out.
I would say it's a quarter through the movie, and it's already...
a quarter?
It's not even halfway.
Not even halfway?
Not even
yet?
halfway, no.
Jeez,
I know,
my God.
I know. Yeah, so
the mystery is solved of who the killer / foul deed doer is in this one so far.
I mean, this even Scooby and the gang would have known right away. As soon as they rolled up, they would have known who the killer was, like
That's
instantly. That's how obvious it is for this movie.
Yeah.
But so he goes back to the house and he tells the girls that he couldn't find her, that she must have walked to find Jerry, who he said went to go look for help get the car fixed.
Sure, he did.
Yeah. So he then heads out, telling them that he's gonna go find her, quote unquote. And while he's gone, they decide to go check in the house. Becky wants to go. Molly's not so sure. But so Becky climbs up into the second floor of the house and gets in and walks in and happens to find what I now call the Eileen-a-Quinn there in a chair. And when she walks up to it, the Eileen-a-Quinn jumps out of the chair and Becky gets scared, but ever so slightly, and then just turns around and walks away like nothing ever happened. Like there's not a creepy house full of creepy ass mannequins that move by themselves and one just jumped up at you.
It's another one of these everybody's on dope. Or something. Everybody's too calm.
It was on Quaaludes. Yeah.
Strange stuff's happening. Everybody's like, oh well,
So she goes, she opens up another door that's filled with mannequins, and while she's there,
fucking mannequins,
she gets knocked down by the killer, who then begins to like sniff on her and like fill her up and stuff. And she grabs,
and he's like,
he's like,
he's got this voice.
Yeah,
this grumbly.
And so she's on the ground and he's doing that, and she picks up a mannequin arm, smacks him with it, which caused him to be
clocks that.
Yeah, so he's off the ground real quick. But then before she even gets up, there's like a bunch of mannequins, like all naked mannequins that surround her, and they start moving back and forth, and they start making this weird humming, creepy noise, and then they start toppling on top of her.
I'm not even going to try to repeat it because it sounds like somebody took cheap porn tracks.
Yes.
Yes.
And just took out all the moans,
distorted it and shit, and remixed it.
And so they fall on her, knock her out.
It's just weird shit.
When she comes to, she's downstairs where she's locked up, and we see Jerry down there. He's been locked up as well. And then just some random girl who apparently he had kidnapped prior to all of this.
Who I will also note is entirely too calm. When the light comes on, she just looks up the stairs like, oh, here he comes again.
So let's put it into context. She's on a table, strapped down to a table.
In the pitch dark.
Covered in a blanket. But when the light turns on, her head's facing away. It's like she's taking a nap. And then she turns and sees the guy coming. And then when she sees that another victim has been kidnapped, she doesn't even make any noise or try to escape or anything. And then he comes up to her and he's like, oh, you're so pretty. Oh. And she's
then
like,
he fucking uncovers Jerry, too. We can't forget that. Jerry had a blanket over the top of him.
Jerry is standing up.
And was not moving an inch. He's just standing there.
He's standing up underneath the stairs, tied to a support beam that's under the stairs. He's standing, but the guy felt like he needed to cover him with a fucking blanket.
And Jerry didn't say shit. He wasn't moving. He wasn't doing a damn
fucking
thing.
Quaaludes.
And he's awake. He's awake.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not knocked out. He's not, gagged. Nothing. He's just making no noise.
And so then he goes up to that girl on the table, starts muttering some bullshit, and she's like, "No, please." And then he leaves, but then she doesn't even try to escape or yell or scream scream or anything. She just calmly tells Jerry and Becky, how she went to go get some gas or something and she was kidnapped, and that's how she ended up here. Okay, big fucking whoop-de-doo. But you don't know her name, you don't know anything about her. But then, and why he killed Woody and why he's going to kill this girl or the others that I'm assuming there are other mannequins, it's not explained at this point. There's no motivation for the killer at this point. All we know is that he is killing them and bringing them down to his basement. And but where is Woody at this point? We don't know, because he's not alive with the rest of them in the basement.
Nope.
And all we've seen so far is his hat.
His hat and nothing else.
And nothing else.
And we know he was skewered, so we can only assume that he bled out and died, but you don't actually see that. And up to this point, there is no other death, even though there have been several encounters so far with this little psychotic being.
Yeah. And so then he goes back upstairs and he comes back downstairs. But he's wearing a new mask, and it looks like a Wayne Newton mask. He's got the big Wayne Newton hair.
Donkey shame.
Yeah. He looks
baby, donkey shame.
He looks like Wayne Newton, and he starts putting plaster all over this girl's face. So he starts putting this plaster all over her face because he wants to turn into a mannequin, but he's doing it while he's explaining what's going to happen to her.
And it looks like the Kraft marshmallow cream.
It does.
This shit is not plaster. It's like this gooey, nasty shit.
Yeah. and he's telling her like fucking like play-by-play, minute-by-minute analysis of how she's going to suffocate, and then it's going to be hot, and yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, I would have died of boredom before I got suffocated with the plaster.
Yeah, and he was trying to make, like, dying of plaster face sexual.
Or sound scary. It doesn't sound either. It sounds boring as fuck.
Hurt. It's going to burn, and you won't be able to see. You'll never see. This is the last you'll ever see of the world. And all this shit. And I'm like, just fucking kill her.
It's funny about plaster. As it starts to dry, gets very hot, almost burning the skin. You'll panic as I seal the lips, and now the eyes. Oh, your face is burning now. The plaster's getting tight. Your world is dark. You'll never see again. Getting hard to breathe, isn't it? I'm going to seal the last openings. You won't be able to breathe.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of exposition about why he wears the mask, and apparently Jerry and them have decided that this is Slauson's brother, who he alluded to earlier.
Yes.
And this is his brother who's gone psycho or whatever, and he's the one turning it into. Matter of fact, the killer, Wayne Newton guy thing, whatever, even says that his brother is the one that has a museum, and his brother doesn't know that I brought this other woman down here. So just alluding further to the fact that he has split personality syndrome,
Yep.
And so then we see Molly I guess she left the house and she's looking for her friends, but all of a sudden the killer shows up, and he's got Woody's head, which is now a mannequin head.
Yep, with the Gilligan hat.
With the Gilligan hat back on.
Still got the Gilligan hat.
And starts chasing her through the woods, and she manages to somehow escape and meets up with Slauson, who's in his truck, who has quite quickly changed out of the costume, got into his truck, intercepted her. Yeah. And so she gets in the truck, and he asks who you running from, and she tells him some psycho in a mask or something, and he like stops the truck and says, "That's my brother." And talks about how he was just there. He was just trying to protect his brother. His brother is crazy, yada yada yada. And she wants to go to the cops, but he's like, "No, let me take him in so he doesn't get killed." So he convinces her to go back to the museum.
Yep.
To turn on the radio, because the radio draws him in, and he get there
that way. Yeah, so that way the cops won't shoot him up
right.
when they show up.
Exactly. Bring him in safely. And so
spoiler. Cops ain't coming.
Yeah, ain't no cops in this town.
Ain't no cops.
Except the mannequin cops he has in his back, probably.
That's true.
It's probably mannequins of Andy and Barney.
That's it.
So they get back to the museum, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go inside." And he gives her a shotgun and tells her how to shoot it, whatever. And
I'm gonna cock it for you. You hold it, and all you gotta do is squeeze the trigger.
Yep. and then goes inside, and she's freaking out because she's worried the killer's going to come. And then the killer does come. Surprise,
The killer
surprise.
shows up. Shocker. He comes out from behind the truck.
Yeah, and
Of course, it's obvious. He goes in the front door, changes, and sneaks out the side
and
door.
comes around the
the
side. Yeah, and so the killer shows up, but it takes her like a full 10 seconds to even pull the fucking trigger.
Because he's sitting there going,
Yeah,
talking
pull
all this
the
shit.
fucking trigger, lady. Shoot his ass. So she does both barrels. He pretends to get hit, but then surprise, surprise, it's blanks.
Yes, blanks.
So it's this in one of the funnier scenes. The killer's on the ground,
That's
and
it.
then he starts taunting her because there were blanks. He's like, bang, bang, bang.
See what's
bang,
funny?
bang.
Yes, it was blanks, but she is still holding a heavy iron shotgun.
Shotgun.
So
So-
what happens, Chris?
She smacks him across the head with
She
it.
knocks the fuck out of him.
Like I would too. Anybody taunts me, I'm gonna smack him across the fucking head.
Dum dum, you're dead. Dum dum, you're dead.
She lays him out like a cheap rug.
It's like that old Superman TV show when they used to shoot him with the pistol.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he'd stand there, but then as soon as they threw the gun, he would duck because
he would duck the
yeah,
gun.
exactly.
Yes. That's so stupid.
So then, but that breaks his mask off, and it's revealed that all this time, the killer has been Slauson. I am shocked,
But blown
Just
away.
shocked to my very core.
I'm shocked that it took them that long to expose it because I think we knew it like 20 minutes in.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder knew it 20 minutes in. So then we go back to the house in the basement, and Becky and Jerry somehow plan of escape, and they're able to escape, and they go into the house. Oh, before that, Slauson knocks her out, takes her inside. So then back to Jerry and Becky. They escape the basement. They go upstairs. Then we see Slauson dressed as like a little girl in a living room
Yep.
with the older mom and pop mannequins.
And he's making them all talk.
Yeah, and he's talking whatever, and then he senses somebody in the hallway, which the hallway is filled wall to wall with fucking mannequins,
Yes.
which is just creepy as hell. And so Jerry and Becky hide amongst the mannequins, and somehow Slauson doesn't realize that they're not mannequins.
Well,
He comes out to search, doesn't see them, goes back in. They take off. You think they're gone, but he ends up catching up with Becky because she falls and trips and does that whole stupid cliche girl thing where she falls, trips over nothing.
of course.
And she gets caught. And oh yeah, let's not forget about that really weird scene where Slauson sits down with that dummy in the I guess it's supposed to be Eileen's dummy because it
Yeah.
has the scarf on it.
It has a scarf.
And he brings them like he has like 2 bowls and he's like, okay, let's eat dinner.
And he puts his Phantom of the Opera mask on. And,
Before he does
or whatever
that,
the hell.
like he's like, let's eat dinner, and the doll's not doing anything, and so he gets frustrated. So then he puts the mask on. As soon as he puts the mask on, the doll springs to life and has this really creepy voice that says, okay, let's have dinner. And then he has this really creepy voice where he's like, that's what I said, let's have dinner. And then it's just this really awkward, useless scene of him interacting with this doll. He's making move with his mind.
How's that?
Let's eat.
That's what I said. Let's eat. Is it good?
Yes, it's very good.
And it's like we were discussing. I think this is more of a psychological thriller type, even though it's old school.
Yeah.
It's more psychological than it is horror, really, to be honest with you, because there's not a whole lot of killing,
No.
not violence, but it's more of a mind fuck.
Yeah.
It's constant, at least what they could accomplish in the 70s. Not today's standards.
Not today's standards. No.
But back then, yeah, this was more, like I said, it's Hitchcocky.
But wouldn't you agree that scene would have been scary? Oh, let's not forget the fact that they had this really quirky music playing over it.
Always.
So if
Constant, weird music.
that quirky, like if they didn't have that happy, quirky music playing over that scene,
Yep.
and Slauson didn't have his quote unquote jokes that he had or his quirky attitude, if they played it just a slightly darker, that scene would have been very, very creepy.
Yeah, very
Very
much
creepy.
so. Very much so, because it had the look. It just didn't have the feel.
Right.
See, it had the look, but it didn't feel it because, like you said, you're being distracted by the goofy ass music and shit.
Yeah.
So it's like if Jason, if he's being chased by somebody and they're playing ice cream music,
Yeah.
and ice cream truck music behind it,
Exactly.
you're like,
Yeah.
this isn't scary.
It's not scary at all. It's funny. It's
Music adds to the experience.
You
And
almost-
the problem is when you're getting these high pitched piano plings and bling bling bling,
Yes.
all this weird ass shit, and then it shifts. I mean, because it's all over the place. You get the creepy violin music, and then you get the high screechy shit, and it's just
Right.
up down, up down.
Yeah, no, it is not at all fitting with the tone or the scene.
Yep.
And so they have that scene, and then Jerry gets caught in the house. Becky gets out, and she's later found by Slauson and killed back inside the museum in a very cool sequence in which the General Custer, the Confederate soldier, and then the Native American dummy are all shooting and throwing axes at her. And the Native American actually hits her dead on in the back of the head.
With a knife.
He
Super throws cool. 2 tomahawks and then throws a knife, nails her right in the back of the head, and she goes down.
Super cool scene. Probably the only cool death. Well, no. Second cool death scene.
But all I'm concerned with, somebody finally fucking died.
Yeah, finally. Yeah.
Obvious death.
On screen.
On-screen
death. Finally, yes.
Absolutely.
So then Holly wakes up and she sees some sort of creepy woman that like gives her water or whatever. And then... Then Slauson goes in the costume to wake her up, takes her out, and tells her that she's going to be his new wife, has this creepy wife mask on that he puts on her and starts sexually assaulting her by kissing her. And then she freaks out, but then he like stops, and then all of a sudden he like snaps, and then he reveals the big shock twist that he killed his brother and his wife because they were whoring around behind his back.
They were hoeing
around behind his back.
That's right.
And at that point, we get this really cool yet weird, nonsensical scene that I didn't see coming, but still kind of cool, where all of a sudden Jerry busts in the door.
Jerry? Don't you mean really?
Vinny Gugalagi? Yeah. Vinny Vermicelli? Yeah.
That's right.
Vinny Vermicelli busts in. He has an axe, right? He's telling Molly to come behind him. We're going to leave. And Molly finally does. And she's sitting there behind Vinny. And he's asking Slauson where the other girls are at. And Slauson's like, there are no other girls. There's no one else here. And he's like, stop playing. And then Molly gets kind of dark and tries to get Jerry or Vinny to kill him. And
kill him.
Kill him, Jerry. Kill him,
Jerry.
And so all of a sudden, Jerry just is there frozen, and Slauson is like, he can't. Don't you know? And then she looks at him while he's frozen, and she gets this look of horror on your face. And you're thinking, okay, are they going with the fact that he's actually a mannequin, even though he looks like a complete normal human? He moved like a human.
Yes.
He had dexterity in his hands to open a door and hold an axe.
It's a 1970s,
which mannequins don't have. But then you get this cool scene where all of a sudden it like cuts from behind Jerry, and then Slauson reaches on his right arm and just pulls it off, and it's a mannequin arm.
Yanks it off, says, "Huh? What you gonna do?"
And then grabs his head, twists his head, and his head comes off as a mannequin head. And you're like, all this time, where the hell were the rest of these human mannequins? Because it's the first time you see a mannequin that's full on human. But Jerry was a mannequin.
Yep. Jerry's a mannequin, and then so he goes while she's standing there freaking out, and he grabs his wife, and starts spinning around and dancing and spinning.
And she starts losing her mind. Molly starts losing her mind.
Well, some of the more decent, at least for briefly, a little bit decent acting. I mean, she actually kind of half-assed sounded convincing,
right?
Like she was starting to lose her shit.
Yeah.
And then she looks around on the ground while he's dancing, and the mummy and the mannequin actually comes to life temporarily. And
it goes back and forth. It switches from alive to
weird.
Fake. But then we get all these cuts of all the mannequins around the room, and we get
half of them are
actual
human.
people. Yeah,
you can tell they're people because they're turning their heads. But
yeah, they look like humans.
And then you got half of the ones that are the obvious mannequins that are lean forward and go,
right. Their jaw drops open and they make that stupid sound.
Opera shit.
Yeah, so that's when like you just want to hear the oh. So that's when she grabs the axe, like you were saying.
Yep. And then in one swift stroke, she finishes off Checky.
Right in the neck.
Right in the fucking neck.
And when she does that, all the activity stops.
Slauson goes down. All the mannequins drop. It's kind of like when the droid army dropped in Star Wars and they blew up the mothership. Everything just stopped.
It's a very like a hive mentality. You cut the head off.
That's right.
The rest stop. Then we get what is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie. We get this wide shot of a road. Oh no, we cut to the vulture on the sign.
Yep.
Wings still open, but he's starting to close them. I guess it's kind of like, I think it's symbolic. Where
my favorite character.
Where when they arrived, his wings were open as for the start of the movie, and then when it's ending, his wings are closing at the end of the movie. So it's very symbolic.
His job is done.
Very exactly. And so you get this wide shot of the road, and you see in the distance the Jeep is coming down the road, and as it gets closer,
How did she get it started?
yeah, I know, yeah, exactly.
Unless he was using his powers to
Make the Jeep
make the Jeep not run. But
probably because the Jeep didn't stop until they got on his property. So that's
pretty
probably
much
a
it.
very good point.
they don't explain it, but
I think you picked that up. Good job.
too much damn. Trying to put logic on it again. Man.
So you see the Jeep coming down, and as it's coming towards the camera, you see Molly in the front seat, and in the passenger seat, and in the seats behind are her friends, her 4 friends in their mannequin form, in their clothing, sitting in the seats. She put them in the fucking car.
Put him back in the fucking
She's
car.
driving down, and when the car gets close to the camera, it freeze frames, and you see the look on her face, and it's a look of someone who has lost their absolute fucking mind.
She's gone.
She's got this smile on her face, like she's fucking crazy.
She's
but
gone
she
bye-bye,
don't
and
care.
with her little car full of mannequins, and it freezes,
And that's the end.
credits roll.
And that's my favorite scene in the entire movie because she looks like a woman who's lost her shit.
Yep.
And she's got 4 fucking mannequins. Let me tell you something. I think she took them because 1, she went to her friends, but 2, she can still use them for the HOV lane.
That's right.
So that's why she took them. I would have taken them
Damn
too.
right.
So that's the end of the movie. All right. So James, let's go. Let's start with you. What's give me your take. Give me your rating on this movie, dude.
Man. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you what. Looking at it from more of a psychological thriller type than it was a horror movie, that was, to me, its biggest fault.
Okay.
Time period, you have to allow for, much poorer photography.
Okay.
It's not as good as cinematography and
Right.
stuff like that. The acting was not half bad. Chuck Connors actually did quite a good
Yeah,
job
I
playing a
agree.
dual role
He did
as
a good
crazy and normal. It
Yeah.
was very unusual for him, being
Right.
that he's more of a Western kind of actor.
Which I think made it all the more believable because
Yeah.
he still had that sort of old west sort of what's the hospitality type feel to him.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
when he was his normal self, he seemed like a really great guy. But
And then when he'd flip a switch, then he'd
was-
start turning motherfuckers into mannequins.
yeah, so he did a
Well,
great
anyway,
job.
so yeah. So acting overall, I give it about a 2.
Okay, all
Wasn't
right, that's
bad.
good. Yeah,
Wasn't bad. It
yeah.
wasn't spectacular, but
Yeah.
he wasn't bad. The script, I really liked the way the story worked.
Okay,
The script, the actual script, them talking back and forth, the dialogue wasn't that horrible. I
No.
give that about a 3.
okay, yeah.
And that was
all
about
right.
middle of the road.
Okay.
The story itself, I thought it was pretty strong. I
Okay.
liked the actual concept.
All right.
The whole museum and stuff like that. It was cool. I give that about a 2.
Okay,
The effects, there really weren't any, to be
no,
honest
not
with you.
really, no,
So I'm going to have to go pretty low on that. As far as the effects are concerned,
Yeah.
there really wasn't a lot of blood.
no,
It's kind of cheesy. All the mannequins were, obvious humans. You could see it.
Right.
It wasn't horrible, but I'm going to give that about a 4.
okay,
Like I said, overall for me,
yeah.
this is a good, strong 3 turd.
3 turd.
I'm
all
going
right.
3 turds on it. Middle of the road. It wasn't great, but what didn't really, it wasn't total suckage.
Yeah. So you're going 3, and 3 was the one where you share it with your friends, and then watch it with them if they have nothing better to do, but then drink heavily while watching it.
And
So
if you
that's a good
drink
one.
heavily while watching this movie, you will probably enjoy it much more because of all the psychological elements to
yeah,
it.
that's true. That's
Like
true.
I said, this wasn't, in my opinion, not a horror movie as much as it was a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they kind of go hand in hand sometime, but as far as I'm concerned, it was more of a mind fuck than it was a
A straight
slice and
horror.
dice.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It definitely
So,
wasn't a slice and dice. That's for damn sure.
How about you, brother? What do you give it?
Well, I agree on many of your points. I thought the acting was actually very well done for the most part, especially Chuck Connors. He did a great job. I thought the story was good. I thought the execution of the story was very bad, though. They executed it very. The story was interesting and different, but it was very poorly executed. The effects were bare minimum, if that. There was no killing on screen. I think the biggest detriment to this film was that it was rated PG.
Yeah.
So there's a lot they had to tone down on. The cinematography was non-existent. The direction was okay. I feel like they attempted to do a lot of things and realized they couldn't, so they just had to go with what they could do,
Yeah.
special effects wise. The music sucked. Just sucked. Just bad. So overall, though, I mean, the beginning's kind of slow, and I think you and I had discussed this. Like, this is the kind of movie that I think they need to remake nowadays
Yeah.
because they could make it actually creepy. They would make it creepy, first of all, because the way that they're taking things from before and making them creepier or even more terrifying, and they don't have to make it PG. It could be PG-13, and PG-13 now is still like rated R back then.
Yes.
'Cause you
absolutely.
can get away with a lot more in PG-13 now. So it would definitely benefit from that. But I think I'm going to have to go with 3 as well. 3 out of
Okay.
5 stars. Yeah, it's not terrible, but the beginning is so slow.
Yeah.
The ending, the last 30 minutes, kind of make up for it just because of the sheer ridiculousness of everything.
Yeah, it probably got a higher rating for me if they had a little more activity up front.
Yeah.
Explained a little bit more, maybe developed the story a little bit more instead of, I mean
like
in this day and age, if you are a horror fan,
right.
there's a lot of it you can probably figure out, especially if you read the synopsis. You already know what's going to happen. You say, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, very middle of the road. But the acting saved this one for me.
Yeah.
Chuck Connor's performance basically saved this for me. Although I was looking at him sideways the whole time because of what I'm used to seeing him in.
And as me coming in fresh on Chuck Connors on this one, I thought he did a great job. He played each part perfectly. I think this would have been higher for me had they actually gone through with more of the actual killings.
Yeah.
Or just had more like direction, I guess.
It's like the Wax Museum movies. What's that?
Yeah,
Waxworks or
Waxworks,
whatever it is.
yeah.
The new ones.
Yeah.
Where they act like with Hilton in it and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Where they actually encase them in actual wax and it burned them. You could see them. They peel it off and you could see actual skin all burned.
Not only that, but like
that kind of horror effect would have had a big impact in a movie like this.
And while I don't need everything explained to me, the fact that they didn't even touch upon how or why Slauson had his telekinesis powers, it's a huge plot point they just kind of left out.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't need everything explained to me. That's great, but like, at least, I mean, they had a lot of exposition of him talking about his family, his wife, his brother. I mean, he talked about like 3 different times in the movie, even to the point where he talked about when he killed them, but he never discussed how or why he got his powers. It makes no sense. And I would like to know why. I mean, did it happen after he killed it? Was it part of the trauma he suffered when he had his psychological break and he killed his wife and brother?
Or was there ever really even a brother, or was he just a split personality?
Right. It was.
You just don't know.
So no, exactly. There's a lot they don't explain.
Never explain.
Yeah. So yeah, all right. Well, James, tell them where they can find us.
They can find us on Facebook. We are on Instagram and Twitter under What to Suck Podcast.
So for the Twitter and Instagram, you have to put underscores, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Under between each word.
I think you can search What to Suck and it comes up, but yeah, you might want to put underscores in between it, and it's only because it wouldn't allow us when we tried to put it on there.
Yeah.
You had to put the stupid underscores.
Underscores, yeah.
You can find us on Castbox.
Yeah, you got it.
I finally got it right.
Congratulations. Castbox. Good job.
.fm.
.fm for the website, or just look up the Castbox app on your phone.
That'll work. And you can also find us on Spotify, and we are on Stitcher now.
That's correct. So we will be looking at expanding to a few more podcast servers as well in the future, but at least for now, you can find us on the big three, those big three.
Absolutely.
And on our big three social medias.
Yep, and please note that each week I am now going to be posting previews of the episode coming up on each Friday so that you will be able to view the movie in advance to avoid spoilers.
Yeah.
Unless you don't give a fuck.
That's right. Now, and don't forget, be sure to go to our Instagram or Facebook, whatever, and comment. Tell us if you've seen the movies, if you like them, if you don't like them. And if you have any movies you want us to watch and review, please add them to the pages, and we'll get to them at some point.
And be patient because, yes, we already have a hell of a list in front of us.
So,
we're going to be doing this for quite a while, so we will eventually do our best to get to any suggestions you have. And we do appreciate your feedback and your comments. We've already been chattering back and forth with a few people, and we're having a good time, starting to get to know some folks out there.
Yeah.
And we're growing. We're getting some listens, and hopefully this will go a long way for us.
So just keep talking, and we'll keep listening.
That's right.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm Chris.
And I'm James.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode. And watch out for Slauson. He's out there somewhere still.